John here. It's Sunday the 8th of March 2015, and this is a message for the New Zealand Police Commissioner, Mike Bush. I'm written to you today, and I'm just emailing a 4-page letter to you. Inside that is an affidavit to you to let you see what I'm doing with 1/61 Cook Street, Auckland property, to seize it back into our occupation. I think you're aware I've been on this for a long time, over 6 years now. I've done extensive research into the history of the titles, and the way they are, the titles are not Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei as the mana whenua. They are not the mana whenua of Auckland according to the British titles that were put on these lands in the first place for Cook Street and for the Captain William Cornwallis Simon come here in 1840 with the titles for Auckland from King William's original Admiralty mortgage lands. Okay, so that's all. I wanted to tell you that because LINZ, Land Information New Zealand, failed to put our names of our original natives onto their LINZ New South Wales, Australia, New Zealand titles. Okay, so you got two titles, Crown British title, Grants 339, deed. Okay, deed 339 is 1878, around there, of this title to John Rogan, the judge, and the land surveyors and lawyers put this title together. There's no disputing that title to the Manukau Land Company in Glasgow. Scottish titles here first that were seized the LINZ titles from Australia because they had no sovereignty to be selling lands here. All those lands from north are illegal. All these lands here on their titles to Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei and the east coast where I'm from, Gisborne and Turanganui, and also Hawke's Bay, the old Auckland provincial titles were put together from that time of 1840 in the Manukau Harbour at Cornwallis, the place called Cornwallis, Pupunga, Manukau's tribesman's past site, okay, at Pupunga. So those are our history of these lands. That's what I'm saying, because they have committed fraud. Doug Rickard Bell, now unfortunately these buyers should have been told by the lawyers, the convincing lawyers, that I had a dispute on right back over this title because I'd been in real estate. I know everything about broking and banking and also land, and I'm protecting our lands from being exploited and created fraud on. There's a lot of these lands that have got fraud in them, and when I approached Jamie Peters to help him with his title, that's how it started. He gave me his title certificate papers to see if I could do anything for him. Well, when I had a look at it, I can see where the problem is. It's only the financial instruments that are used on our land illegally from the transactions from one owner to the other. Now, they are only certificates of banking instruments. That's it. We have the organic title to the land. If anything is going wrong with it, that's our business. And Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei are Crown corporations. All the iwi Maoris are corporation companies owned by the Crown. They are not the original owners. The Hapu natives are with the right surnames. And these ones here, Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei, Tiwana Tibu, Blair, Ngārumu Blair, and Joe Hawke, those are not original native names. It's more Parapara and Hona Kāwharu, the real Kāwharu from the South Island. Not this Kāwharu here, Hugh Kāwharu, was fake. Mike? All the histories are fake. And this one will go down to the wire. If anyone steps out of line with these titles I've got there online on my Facebook, then they're liable with the pound note. We have that pound note belongs to us. We have the rights as King William's partner to print them and mint the coins, because we're still in a commercial contract with him in mortgages. Okay, that's where the mortgages came from here, from King William. It did not come from the Queen Victoria or Queen Elizabeth. Those documents are our property in direct contract under our flag. Mike, under this flag. Okay, I'm stressing the point here to the whole world watching that this is the only flag that's going to save Britain. Okay, King William's flag is going to save Britain with this red cross, because their flag and your flag with a Union Jack on it is falling to pieces because it's got nothing. It hasn't got this banking, trading, free trade around the world, free passage through the world on this flag. It has not got that. How you got here was this flag. Okay, everyone that's left Devonport in England have come on this flag, Mike. That's what I'm trying to tell everybody, and they're being ignorant. It's going to cost them a pound note each. Now you'll see at the top of the page, the first page, a £1 trillion note. That's your levy to all your policemen. Now it's too late, because you left Aaron Pascoe, Detective Senior Sergeant Aaron Pascoe, criminal investigator, to run rife all over me. He wasted my time over a year for me to go back and find why he did that, why he did what he did to me, to stop me from going on that land block. It was to save the fraud going on in there. That's what I'm saying. I'm accusing him and the police department of fraud, straight to your face, okay, in front of the whole world. All these videos that I make, people are watching and judging for themselves how far it goes. So what I'm doing is I'm telling you this for the very last time, that these cases are in the High Court of Admiralty in London, where all your mortgages have come from, and the instruments for doing mortgages on land has come from Westminster through King William IV only. No other king or queen put these documents together. Okay, so I want to ask you to alert your police constable in Auckland, Mike Clement. He's the area district commander. I've been talking to him before. He said to me, John, we have no jurisdiction over you. He was right. He's the only person that has ever said the right thing about land. Okay, so Aaron Pascoe was not qualified enough to handle something like what I'm doing full time. Okay, I've been on this for a long, long time in real estate and broking to know what I'm doing with law, international law, with contracts. Okay, I've been to my lawyer, and they know it's a big case. He knows it's a big case. Yu Tai Choi, QC, notary public lawyer. Okay, so he's on one side, I'm a King's Bench on the opposite side of him. I stand there to talk for the King of England, okay, as his surrogate partner. That's legal. On my documents you'll see the seals of who I am here as an original surname on these land blocks, not an English surname. They are not the right owners at Ngāti Whātua with those names on the block, and they don't have this title. They are making claims to be from this Manukau title, but they can't justify it. They cannot prove their own names. Okay, I'm taking everybody on one at a time, Mike. Me and that other person, or me and you, or me and Aaron Pascoe. Aaron Pascoe's in the contract now. Is anybody who doesn't refute what I'm saying when they're tampering with my contracts, then they're liable. He's liable now. He's liable to your whole police force because you let him carry on doing his business of protecting fraudsters. Doug Rickard Bell and Chris Finlayson, the Attorney General, him. Okay, him. I've been after him for a long, long time to pull in because of what he's doing to our land and to Queen Elizabeth and Sean Elias. They're in trouble with me, Mike. They're in real trouble with me and the British military and the British government, the new British government. From the 7th of May, it'll be a total clean out because I'll be there with them. Okay, I'm going to be there with the Moai King William Party. I'm doing politics too, Mike Bush. I'm into politics. I was with Winston Peters in his New Zealand First Party in Epsom up against Christine Fletcher at that time, and I was doing pretty well. The only thing was Gavin Logan had the money to campaign. I didn't. Well, that'll be a different story when I go to England. That'll be a totally different story. There's a lot of fraud now, King William and Victoria, Queen Victoria Trust. I'm after that gold that's missing, and I'll get the military over there in Scotland Yard to go and get it with the pound note. I have the right to tell them to go and get it with the pound note. So any debts here on that land block, it's all adding up. That Doug Rickard's bill, with all those names I've got on there on the letter, on the second page, including the Land Register General, the Surveyor Register General, and Don Grant, who came over from Australia with Doug Rickard Bell. Those two have been conspiring to defraud the public of New Zealand and our own interests. You see, because they've got their own interests. When you look up the law, Mike, it says there that the police are there for our interests of the public. Well, it doesn't appear to be, because you've got your own private prosecutors causing havoc now. I've been reading it on the news of what the police are doing, taking cases for their own self with the Police Complaints Authority to do their own private prosecutions with the private investigators and private prosecutors. Police private prosecutors are up against me, a native private prosecutor. Mike Bush, I am a prosecutor in the private. Okay, in the private. Moai King William Trust is exactly the same as the City of London, owned by the Rothschild Bank, and Queen Elizabeth II, private business owned by the Queen, and Washington DC, private business owned by the Queen. So she's in a conflict with us, Mike, because she's not the Queen of England anymore, and she certainly isn't the Queen of New Zealand in my books, because she's in the EU Parliament dismantling Westminster. So that's a conflict with our flag here. Right? She's usurping this flag, Mike Bush. I'm going after her for using King William's flag for her dirty business, for her fraud business. We're going to seize the whole lot of Queen Victoria's Trust off her and audit her. When I go there, Alex Salmon from Scottish government will do an audit and we've got people waiting there for me to do an audit on King William's property in Devonport, England. Okay, I've got the right to go in there and seize it, reoccupy it, and seize his estates, because the Queen has defaulted on her oath of office. And your oath of office, Mike Bush, I'd like to know what your oath of office is, who you're swearing to. I want to make this point clear, right in front of everybody today, Sunday, that I wrote to the Governor of Victoria, State Governor in Australia. And I told him, because they were going to use Queen Victoria as their monarch on the 23rd of December last year, right on Christmas time when everybody's eating. Well, I stopped them. I stopped them, Mike, from using Queen Victoria, because if he did that, Westminster can come and kill them. That's how it works in the upper house and the lower house. So what did he do? He didn't do it. I wrote a letter and rang them and recorded it. Right? Everything I'm doing is recorded. So it's my evidence in the High Court of Admiralty in London. They do online. I'm doing 2-hour cases, Mike. It doesn't take me long to get a case going over the phone, straight into the court. Here, for anybody, it takes 2 hours. You're either right or you're wrong. That's what I'm saying about this property. I'll get on the phone to England and it'll spur a court case right in action, and they've only got 2 hours to refute it. That's how it works. You're either right or wrong. My word against your word, and you've got all that, a lot of information online that you can pick up. Just type my name, John Wanoa, into Facebook, Twitter, Google, or YouTube, and you'll find everything there is correct. Every statement I make is correct, and it's easy for the judge to just cite anything straight to England and make a ruling. He wants his pound of flesh out of that pound note, Mike Bush. He wants his tax out of that pound note. And it's a levy debtor that anyone who's causing a fraud cannot prove it, cannot refute what I say to allege them that have done it. They have done it. That's why I'm accepting their silence as an admission of guilt, that they have committed that crime that I alleged them of. 3 times. Aaron Pascoe, 3 times he failed to refute my affidavits. 3 affidavits, lengthy affidavits, okay, in between the words. And the last one's got citations in there and some acts to block anybody out from trying to interfere with my contracts. Okay, liens, commercial liens are lethal, Mike, and I think you know that. I think the police have no capacity to make any sort of judgment over a case like this. Not even a lawyer will take it on, because it's beyond them. They cannot inquire into the King's business. They cannot. They can only go into the Queen's business, which is racked with fraud. Okay, it's racked up with fraud. And he, U Tai Choi, signed the declaration I did with him to certify that this book is true on his affidavit, on my statements that I am who I am, and he certifies that everything I wrote is true and correct. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. This book and his signing, that John Key, his name is in the box. He says to me, this is the QC notary public lawyer of mine, U Tai Choi. I paid him, you see. So, he signed it. That he says, whose name going in the box? I said, John Key's. So John Key's name is in the box. You'll see it there in the High Court of Admiralty in London, that he is a fraud that I've named straight in there onto that document. Okay, the complaints have gone not to the not to the World Court, but to the High Court of Admiralty. That's our right. That is our right as King William to be sitting in the court. I'll be sitting in the court. Now, if anybody took me to court here, you'll find the judge will not stand there when I ask him his oath, because, like I was saying, the Governor of Australia swears his oath to the law. That's it. There's no monarch, only the law. He swears to the law, whether it's good or bad law. And now, we don't know. He had to come out with it because I asked him, who are you swearing to? And I made sure that he's not tampering with our monarch in England on Westminster, right? Westminster is all mine to go to and to sit there with them, okay, as our partners. And the military. The military is coming to East Cape. Mike Bush, they're going to park on my land blocks. There are a few land blocks at the East Cape. Rangitukia. We already set it up. We've already set up for the British military to come in there, okay? Just to let you know, they're on our side if none of the police help me with this. Their British title has been tampered with, okay? By these fraudsters lawyers, Hornibrook and MacDonald lawyers have fraudulently tampered with the titles of the British to make it look like nobody knows how to do it. No, I'm just as good as those lawyers. I learned how to do it, Mike, because I got ripped off from the lawyers in England and Lloyd's banker, and Philip Taylor, the CIB, you know, who did that case for me. Okay, I'll still recover the £16.8 million there and the rest of the Treasury. Okay, I'm after the Treasury. I'm going in as the head trustee of our Queen Victoria Trust and all their gold. Mike, that's my job. That is my job, is to look after our native lands here, because no one knows how to do it. Okay, so I'm here for a reason. The old chiefs, Mohi Manukau and Machi Tarawa and Richard Kake and Hare Ututonga, all those old guys gave me the mandate from the Confederation to do this job with this flag, to legalize this flag and stand it in Westminster. Okay, it'll be standing in Westminster soon over these lands, okay, over the whole Commonwealth, Mike Bush. So I plead to you to either tell the police, leave me to go and arrest the property. That's how you say it in Admiralty terms. I'm going to arrest 1 bar 61 Cook Street property in Auckland off the mortgagors and Simon Pierce Roundtree and Brent James Pierce Brown and Simon Brent Roundtree. I'm going to seize the property from their titles and issue new titles to Britain, okay, and tenants agreements to Britain, okay. Those are the original titles, back to zero, okay. So I'm the bank set up with the pound note against those people who have committed the fraud. This is without, because I know the police are not doing it. The military, British military, are watching every move here of your police being inactive to do anything about that fraud, especially with the Crown agents in the government right inside it. Okay, so it's put them really, really at risk of losing everything now because of their involvement to defraud those investors on that land block and us, the landlords and the patent land title owners. Okay, that's the land, not your mortgage, the land. Okay, they're doing fraudulent acts on our land. is the main thing here that I'm making this video for you, just to bring you up to speed of where we are at with this block. On the 12th of March next week, Thursday, I will be going up to see the owners once more time to tell them I'm reoccupying the land as of that day. And then I'm going up to the police station to tell them, to report that I'm going to walk onto the land and occupy it back into our ownership and keep the tenants there. I will issue new tenancy agreements. I'm making a statement here in public, as I always do, that the police and the government is quiet. They're silent. When you're silent, you accept what I do is true and correct, and the law. Whatever I say, and challenge any person, whether they are a single person in natural person's name or a corporate in person as Simon Roundtree and James Brown, their surnames in capitals. They are not a natural person when they're talking to me. They are a corporate person in corporate business. Okay, so we're talking corporate business here with my own company, Ngātua Ewa Aotea Limited. That company is billing, not suing, billing in our court under the King's Bench Court rules and King's Bench Royal Revenue of King William IV. Okay, we're recovering the fraud queen of England, mischief people that are causing fraud all over the world. I'm going to 250 countries, Mike, not just here. I'm in the world with this flag, 250 countries right now online, to put the pound note. It's going into the ANZ Bank. They're going to buy the £1 trillion note. Okay, so that'll make me financial more than anything. And any piece of land in the world that's got the Queen's name on is going back to the King of England. Okay, because she's gone and she's stolen, I'm alleging she's stolen our Queen Victoria Trust Gold Trust Fund and our assets. And I'm going there to do an audit on her. I will get Scotland Yard there to assess me after I take this land back into the British title. Okay, the original Manukau Land Company's deed of title. Okay, you can't argue with that. You can't argue with that because it's going back to square one, where it's not worth anything. Okay, we don't need to be worth anything. So that's what I wanted to tell you today, that the Victoria State Government is swearing their oath of office to the law. Now, who are you swearing to your oath of office? That's the question. And where do you get your authority from now? It can't be from the Queen of England, because she ain't no Queen of England. And she can't, just like Australia, your titles here, these titles have come from Victoria, Australia. Okay, that's what I'm saying. They are not the same titles as the British ones. Okay, those are second-hand titles there. And that's what I'm saying about this land block. It's going back to its original state of Crown grants. Okay, the Crown grants. So, you would be getting your authority from not the Queen, but from somewhere else. She owns America, Washington, D.C. That's her private business. Okay? And it better not be from there. It better not be from anywhere. While you're on these lands, we're sovereign. We're sovereign, but this flag is making me sovereign. Okay? This flag. And I'm going to prove how that works before long, when we see what you're going to do. I suggest you do nothing. And if they ring up the owners of the occupiers, James Brown and Simon Roundtree, rings you up, it would be better to just say we can't do anything about it because there is a complaint and there is a problem with it we don't want to get involved with. So that's all that happened, because they got a lawyer's problem. The lawyers should have contacted me or my lawyer, because they're just shutting up and saying nothing. As much as a little note to say, I think you're barking up the wrong tree, John. Or, we don't see anything in your title. Something, anything. I've got absolutely nothing. It means, Mike, that they cannot say anything because it's too much for them now that they've committed the crime. The last thing I want to say is this. Because indefeasible title means that they have registered certificates of title and dealings on that block of land. Those are only instruments for off the ground like that in finance and not the land. Okay, where it comes unstuck is that it's got fraud in it. It has fraud, laced with fraud, and that's the problem they're having to face now. They're having to face their documents that don't stack up to that document. Those documents, Mike, it doesn't stack up. Everything's in this book. You can not get just a court on wheels, okay? It's a High Court of Admiralty in London case right there for that block. And other books as well that are loaded with everything in there. And Ngāti Whātua has no way they can win a court hearing. And the Crown will not win a court hearing with me being the King's Bench judge on the other side of the Queen's Counsel. Okay? I'm the King's Counsel. So that's the problem they're having, is because, one, the rule is this with police and law, is that the financial interests of mortgages are dependent on what is the security of the land. What is the security of the land? And who is the real owner? Who is the original owner? Must be on the title. Must be on the... It's not there. It's not there. They've got this Treaty of Waitangi stuff that doesn't stack up. The Treaty of Waitangi is a fraud. I'll make that statement right in front of everybody. The Treaty of Waitangi 1840 is a fraud. It was set up for Maoris. There's no such thing as Maori iwi, Mike Bush. That's not the original tribe. They only made that up and invented it in 1945, okay, in the war. That's not, there was no Maori at 1840. There was only native, okay? That's the difference. And that's where it'll come unstuck with anyone who can't come out with this information. So that the interests, the financial interests of the indefeasible title is only as good as the title itself of being clear of transfer under section 145 and 145A of the Maori court. On those documents, on that 339 deed, it got Maori court, okay, with Judge John Rogan. See? They had to comply with that bit of their title. Well, they just left their title on and wiped our titles off. Okay? That's the problem. That's the problem with that title. It's not a good title because other financial interests or unfinancial interests, or prove, if you can prove that you were the owner, then no one's owning up to refute what I'm saying as the owner. Dr. Mike Bush. Okay? No one. No one can. Okay, so thank you very much. And I'm hoping that you will reply to me in urgency, because I spoke to your office that I will need an urgent answer, because I've got to be in England, in Westminster, next month for the elections. I'm in the elections over there, Mike Bush. I'm a very important person in England, okay, right now with my Rogan family, those judges over here that put those titles together, and the Rogan family in England. The royal family there with my Moai statues. The Moai statue in Auckland, in the museum, that's my title here. Mike Bush, that's my memorial to East Island, to London. They've got another big one there you'll see on our seal. That one on the seal, that's London. That's my title. Now that the Queen's gone, I'm moving in there to take that title of Queen Victoria. Took it in 1868 off East Island. Was the first statue that she removed and took it there to England and hid it over 100 years away. Okay, so that's my title to Auckland lands, Mike, that no one can dispute. Okay, on top of that, the history of the Rogan Wānoa and Rogan Manukau family. That's why the Scottish went straight into the Kaipara Harbour, straight to the Manukau's, and straight to the Wānoas on the East Cape. Read it. You'll find out it's true. Those two names, Manukau, Wānoa, was the British title, still is. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. So I'm hoping that I will seize the property on the 12th, Thursday next week of March 2015. And then the pound note is stuck against all those fraudsters, and I'm going to get them one at a time. One at a time. Okay? Each person I will take one at a time, including John Key. He's the first one on that list in the High Court of Admiralty in London. His name is right there. If he goes ahead with the TPP and signs it, he's in trouble. All those people who signed the TPP and the TTIP in Britain is in trouble with the King of England and surrogate King William IV. That's me. Okay, that's me, and that title, Mike, that I'm going to England to claim to be the King of England. Okay? It's no joke. I'm saying that online in front of everybody, that I have the legal right over these land blocks here in Auckland. And if anybody has any better information about that, I haven't seen it yet. Okay? Thank you very much. We'll see you later. Bye for now. John Wanoa, Auckland, New Zealand. Bidding you a wonderful day.